Yo, yo, ho, 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 ho. My name is Roy Matz, and this is Sync Gems. Now, I've decided to bring on my dear and old friend. He's not old, he's actually younger than me, but he's an old friend, Sigurd. I'm not gonna give you a long ass intro because I mean we go through so many subjects. We start by the first 20 minutes basically talking about modalities and ways that can help you enhance your mental. So we talk a bit meditation and research and health and a lot of things that are very simple that you can implement actually. So like first 20 minutes are about that. Then we go into the more professional slash just we talk about so many things from Sigurd's journey and success and how he views things and why he doesn't really celebrate big wins. We've already covered that, but not in this way. So you're really in for a treat. I promise. This conversation was amazing, and yeah, and I fucking love this dude, really, to be honest. If y'all dig this podcast and you wanna do me a favor for the new year, first of all, follow the podcast on your wherever you're listening to it, and secondly, please go rate and review it. It really helps on Spotify and Apple, and probably on the other ones, but I'm not really aware of them. Just rate it and review if you can. On Apple, you can write a review. And this also makes my freaking day and will make the beginning of next year so much sweeter for me. So make sure to go and do that. Share the posts on socials. And yeah, without further ado, let me try it for the third time. Sigurd Jøhnk-Jensen.
As close as we're gonna get it.
Number 4 is gonna be I'm gonna have it spot on.
Oh yeah.
Jøhnk. Anyway, can you say it once?
Jøhnk.
Ah, damn it! No, I'm editing this shit out. Okay. Sigurd.
Is that Ø? Is that
Jøhnk.
goddamn Danish letter?
Jøhnk-Jensen.
Yes,
bro.
Yes.
You're a kind of a legend for my friends because I speak about you a lot.
Legend.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah, you are.
Aren't you supposed to be dead to be a legend? Actually, but I don't know.
You're a living legend.
Oh, that's something
that
different,
feel?
I guess. that feels good, but it's not good for my ego.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it is because your ego is so low. So I feel like I want to kind of mess with your head today so that next year you'll be less zen. You'll be
next year, everyone is just gonna hate me for being a moron, and it's your fault.
And it's like starting from Sync Gems, for my third time on Sync Gems, I've just become this complete stuck-up dickhead. Yeah. And
perfection on 2 legs.
And yeah,
right here.
And that's I've become this sex machine.
Yes,
of a human being.
I can do it while
Jesus.
I bounce stems.
I've become Jesus to y'all, so y'all should get the fuck out of here and ask stems from somebody else, you bitch.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do a course. I'm gonna write a Bible.
Whoa, whoa, that's great.
Here we go.
Something I haven't
How to
heard.
bounce stems 101.
Yo, how to bounce stems 101. Holy shit, man. I knew we'd get some gems
The
here.
one true way to the
Man.
stem god.
The stem god. Let's
Yes,
go.
that is what they will call me.
Jøhnk, the stem god. Oh my
Yes.
god. The
He was
mythical
crucifixed
creature.
on a cross.
Oh my god.
Well,
So
that's how to get the whole internet burning.
I feel like you're kind of an urban legend from my friends, and yeah, because I speak about you a lot. I give you as an example of somebody who has gotten some really great things done and still has zero ego on him. And it's
I'm sure it's there somewhere if we dig deep enough.
Oh yeah. But it's on the surface. It's kind of hard to find. So I'm like, I feel like that's a rarity. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's kind of what I like about you. Like your reactions to things are always very I want to say moderate, but they're subtle as hell. Why do you think that is?
Well, the easy answer is because I'm Danish. Okay. And it's kind of how we tend to go about stuff. You know, we are all kind of brought up with this whole don't think you are anything mentality. You know, even though you are good at whatever you do, best to downplay it just to play it safe, right? So I guess that's most of it. But of course, there are also I'm very, very conscious about not, you know, if let's say I'm having a discussion with you about something, it's okay for me to put out my opinion about whatever we're talking about, but I don't want to consciously overshadow whatever your thoughts are on the same topic. So I kind of try to go with that flow as good as I can. Basically, I guess, if that makes any sense.
It does, but it's a hard concept to grasp. Like,
yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I feel like I wish I had a bit more Danish in me. Like I for real, it's like I know that it's for sure it's not all unicorns, and I'm sure it comes with a certain amount of stoicism and maybe passive aggressiveness and things that are not on the surface. But I feel like there's a greatness to there's a really powerful trait in that, you know, like being able to say, well, I've accomplished that, but also I'm just a human. Like to have that as a base mindset, and then achieving great things, I feel like can be a very powerful combo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very much. But I also think it comes, of course, some comes from your upbringing and some comes from whoever the people are around you, because you get input from everywhere. But I can only speak for myself, of course, also. But I know some of it also comes from spending a lot of time meditating and on spiritual stuff like that. Having some sense of constant calm and awareness of yourself and people around you and stuff, it gets you to some sort of calm but aware state and place in yourself. It's really hard to explain you know, how stuff inside your head works, because does it even work?
Yeah,
That's a big question.
Very subjective.
Yeah, but I would say meditation has a lot to do with it.
Do you also have is there like a certain type of meditation that you recommend?
Well, it depends. If you're a complete beginner, get on the YouTube videos, the guided stuff. There are a lot of really, really good stuff on YouTube where they take you through a 10 to 15 minute session, where they talk to you and kind of explain how to think and stuff. But after that, once you get a hang of it yourself, for me, it's about, there are kind of two ways for me to meditate. One of them is to, what I tend to do at the end of the day, I kind of go through the whole day, and kind of, it sounds weird, but kind of give myself grades, in the sense of, could I have done this better, or could I have maybe answered this person in a different way, either on text or in real life, and kind of go through the whole day and internalize how everything was and how good of a day it has been. But if it's in the morning, a morning meditation, it's more of a finding a place inside my head where I'm not thinking about stuff, really. Like it's either in a sitting position or lying on the floor, on the couch or anything, and kind of like putting everything through a filter until you are kind of in this dream state almost, where 30 minutes can go by where you just open your eyes and think, what the hell happened? It's kind of like sleeping, but that moment before you fall asleep, but in a conscious way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
And that creates an amazing amount of calm and awareness.
Yeah, it creates lucidity. Like it creates.
Yes, that's the word.
I feel like it also creates like a hyper awareness of things like impermanence and just like time passing and things like that, because like the biggest thing we don't have control of in our life is time. Like people want to reverse it, and I know like there's a guy with amazing books called Ram Dass, and he speaks about in his book Becoming Nobody, he talks about how people are trying to reverse aging, and there's like a whole movement that people who want to reverse aging and want to do stuff that is anti-aging. And it's like, and he says it's almost like telling the leaves in the spring, don't turn red. Let's color the leaves because they're turning red. And I feel like meditating can really bring one to terms. It does help me do that with where I am, actually, and I love the concept. I don't do that what you were speaking to about before we go to sleep, like doing that kind of logging, and I think that's super important, especially as a gratitude practice, right? Like having a gratitude in the evening and also in the morning, but in the evening having an acknowledgement of what did I accomplish today? Like, how did I show up today? What can I do to show up better tomorrow? And that could be really helpful. And also, like in the morning, I feel like it's a great time to ask oneself, how do I want to show up this morning?
Oh yeah.
How do I want to be? What do I want my loved ones to say about me after today, kind of thing? And I feel like tuning into that and and choosing. For me, it's some people say a mantra. I may choose a word sometimes, and as hippie as it sounds, just like breathe in and think about the word, like filling my body, and then breathe out and think about another word. Let's say I want to breathe in calm and breathe out stress, something like that. I just imagine that feeling, like the color of that feeling, the texture, the everything in my body, and feel how it can also like release my muscles, how it can really help me in everything. And just you're kind of, I feel like when one does this, I feel like it fills me with it's kind of a prophecy that manifests itself as I'm doing that. And I feel like that's a beautiful thing, because that's my prime time to do it. And also I've also started doing, because I look at a screen a lot, so I've started structuring little breaks where I close my eyes for 5 minutes every hour or 2 hours. I just close my eyes for 5 minutes, or go out, stare at the sun, like look at something for 5 minutes, because my eyes get really dry. But also there's another form of meditation that maybe would help some people, called yoga nidra. And that's also like, you go basically into a form of hypnosis, and I think it's a meditation that's designed mostly for the middle of the day, but it also there's a lot of ways to do it. But it's basically a big one big body scan. It's between 10 to 20 minutes, depends on what you choose. Also on YouTube. And you basically lay, and there's a lot of free meditations like that. You lay down and do this beautiful body scan. You feel into, like, when was the last time you felt your tongue? Like that's like, or like felt your elbow, or felt like something like so subtle, like, you know, like the top, the roof of your mouth. And sometimes, like, I need somebody to guide me through something like that. You know what I mean? Like to help me to put it in terms. So I agree, totally agree with you. I love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Meditating can really, it can both help you with a lot of stuff if you have some mental stuff going on, but it can also clarify a lot of stuff about you that you probably maybe didn't even know. Or maybe you might have, let's say you suffer from depression, for example, maybe even just a mild version of it, and you might think that it comes from this point of your life or this trauma or something, and you constantly try to work it out, but nothing works. But then through meditation, you find out that your depression actually comes from a whole different point in your life that you didn't even think about. And you can't get rid of whatever you are dealing with inside your head until you find the trauma point that it stems from.
Yeah, that's big.
I feel meditation can really get you to that point. It's not going to come on the first day or the second day, but after some work and stuff, it can really do wonders for your mental state.
I feel like it's important also to take that with like something like therapy or something like that. Like I feel like there's a lot of ways to do it wrong. There's actually I've been deep diving a lot of Tim Ferriss's podcasts lately, and there's one with a meditation research that a researcher that talks about like the negative impacts of meditation, and it's super interesting, you know, because like everybody talks about the good stuff of meditation, but there's actually research that shows that if you do your meditation, basically if you meditate, you over meditate. You basically stimulate areas in your brain that make you sleep really bad. So like you're basically like a lot of it happens to meditators where they're suddenly like sleep deprived or they're something like that. Like that happens too. That usually doesn't happen to somebody who meditates 30 minutes a day or, you know, something like that. But people who are more excessive, but it's just super interesting to see that there's also negative repercussions to it. And I love.
Well, there's negative repercussions to everything you do, basically, right? We all know that it's healthy to go to the gym, right?
Right.
But if you do it for 7 hours every day, you're gonna end up in a wheelchair.
Or if you do it wrong,
right?
Like, or if you straight up do it wrong, like I mean,
if you start deadlifting with your whole back, right, you're gonna crush yourself pretty fast. And it's the same with meditation and breath work and all that stuff. You can do it right, but you can also do it very wrong.
Yeah. So that's something I've been kind of grappling with, where I really feel like there are things that I need expert opinions on. And I'm just, for some reason, I'm so stubborn that I'm not going there, especially when it concerns my body and my, and I don't know why, I don't know where that stemmed from in my life, but I'm just like super aware and afraid of the people that I approach with my body, because I don't know, but probably because I was disappointed in the past by the assessments I got. And
I actually think, and even though you're not allowed to say stuff like that in 2023 for some weird reason, I actually think it's a male thing.
Okay.
I think it's kind of the same as why males never go to the freaking doctor, even though we all know we should, and it's probably a good idea, and all that stuff. And males have a higher death potency in different areas, males because we don't go to the doctor, and we don't go
suicide.
Yeah, exactly. We don't go to a psychiatrist because we can do it ourselves, blah 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 blah, and then we hang ourselves in the garden, right? So I'm not sure, but it could be from the same reason. But why males tend to not want to go to a psychiatrist and to the doctor, I don't know. It makes no sense, actually. Why would you not want to survive, right? Makes no sense.
I feel like that it comes from a place of provider, right? Like it's if we talk about it from a purely rational place, like the man in the house needed to be strong always, and if he wasn't strong, who would guard the village, who would go hunting, who would do these things. I feel like it's an ancestral thing. And also, like, and we're getting into water where we are speculating, right? Like, we are not, this is not science by any means, but I feel like, there are things that men are way more rigid about because of war, because of, we were talking about like Vikings and there's Vikings are super like when one thinks about Vikings, if the word strong doesn't come to your mind, then you're just like straight up dumb, or I don't know, like you haven't watched enough you haven't watched enough and read enough to understand, or been to a country like Denmark or Sweden to understand how big these dudes are. But I feel like the stereotypical man warrior type of person, is a person that without a leg you fight, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And exactly. it's just a thing, and if you don't, you're a woman. And
it's kind of where it stems from.
And being a woman is wrong. Like being feminine, or being like if your job is to be a healer or to be a troubadour or somebody like that, that's cool. But if you're a warrior, if you consider yourself a warrior, then you're out of luck, buddy. And I think that's where it comes from. Yeah.
So we could learn a lot from our more feminine co-creatures at some points, right?
100%. Like to see, man, even and like we're 20 minutes and we haven't talked shit about music, but who gives a fuck? I mean, like, bro, it's the new year. We can talk about UFOs if we want, but
don't get
today's
into that
podcast.
We don't have time.
We talk with Sigurd. about
about the way he got the duck. Oh, yeah. The UFO thing is a whole other podcast, man. That's my guilty pleasure rabbit hole.
Oh my god, man! We're gonna deep dive this in a we're teasing the next episode.
Yeah,
and like we're completely gonna go off the rails in the next one.
Completely. I'm
2024, we're coming at you, baby.
UFOs and stuff, and no music.
Oh my god. This will be UFO gems, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean, like it's. I tend to talk about my dog because my dog is just like basically the my child, and
yeah.
I see how my girlfriend sometimes just like lets her be. And as somebody who trains her, it seems completely counterintuitive, but it makes so much sense at the same time. Like seeing how would you see your dog, your training come to life if you don't let your dog be, kind of thing. And she just sends me videos of like my dog interacting with other dogs, and I sometimes tear up because I see all the work that I've put in motion. And it's all because of the feminine. So I feel like that's a huge thing that I'm super grateful is people in my life who help me tune into a more how dynamic part of myself and more soft part of myself, because that's the part that art comes from, in my opinion. That beautiful art comes from as well.
Completely.
So, 100%. I feel like it's very important to be able to say, hey, I actually don't feel really well. I'm not gonna suck it up this time. This time it feels wrong, and I want to see why. And maybe I'll laugh at myself later for being a pussy, but for now I'm gonna take care of this shit. Yeah. And that's also, I feel like a good masculine trait to have, to be able to say stop and let me just figure this out. And so you know what, like that'll be a good transition to
damn, you know how to work in those transitions. I have to give you that.
So that like I think that at this point I can talk about anything and it would be a good transition, but anyway, like
pretty much.
how do you feel that like that kind of manifested for you in like 2023? And it seems like you are still with your like foot on the gas, like really still hitting that pedal to the metal, as they say. But how do you think that these traits have shaped this year for you?
That's a really, really good question. So are we talking about the whole how the meditation and all that stuff works out with the pedal to the metal kind of style, or are we just talking about
with the I feel like with the creative life, with the profession that you've created for yourself, with the pace that you've created for yourself? And what does that look like? Let's say, okay, let's take you from 2022 and 2023, because we're entering 2024 and we're gonna go into that. But you know, like if you reflect on that, how's that looked?
Well, it has been really good. I have been very, very busy, and not really taking many days off or any kind of vacation, really. But I would say that actually really works for me. Then of course I have a day or two during the week where I kind of force myself to, have a weekend, like we talked about before we started recording. Sometimes I like to take my days off, my weekend, on a Monday or Tuesday instead, for example. But 22 and 23, I have kind of been firing on all cylinders to really fire away. But I actually don't really feel it. When I started out in music a long time ago, I got into a burnout, and I actually think we talked about that on another episode. Can't remember. And that was a bad time, because the only thing I actually like really cared about, besides people around me, of course, but the only like real passion I actually had suddenly was something I didn't want to do because of the burnout. And that's actually when I started, doing breath work and meditating and so on, to kind of get back into the creative space. So actually starting meditating and all that stuff, and somehow, and I don't know how, but somehow allowed my brain to go full on all the time without having any kind of feel of burnout again. And it still works. I haven't had a burnout relapse yet. Of course, it also helps if you ask my better half. She would say that because of my ADHD, I have an unlimited and to the brink of annoying amount of energy. So that, of course, helps a lot on that end. But I would say that I have been firing away on all cylinders for this whole year without much or any vacation at all. But it has been really good. Actually, I've gotten a lot of work done, and I have gotten a lot of new connections and broadening the network, which is kind of my it's almost even more important to me than getting paid. Of course, I need to get paid for my work, but I spend a lot of time on, my network, and constantly that, so I can see that every year my network has gotten bigger. Also because, of course, I'm involved in a lot of sync-based music, for TV and trailers and blah blah blah. But my main thing is and will always be video game music. So for me, that it's very important to constantly broaden my network in that area too. So yeah, that has kind of been my 2023. Just fire away, write as much music as possible, and broaden the network. And it is bearing a lot of fruit. I'm getting a lot of work and getting a lot of placements for some weird reason. So it's been really good. Did I answer the question? I don't know.
Yeah, man, and I think
kinda maybe.
I think that I was talking to my friends, and this actually connects to what we were speaking about before. We have a mastermind once a week. I told you.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is basically impossible for people in Europe to attend because it's so late at night. But it's basically we talk about everything we're going through there. And today we were speaking about the subject. We were marinating over how we the connections that we build throughout and along the journey. These are the things that power the next years. These are these are the oil to the that lights the lamp. So I mean, if you don't power these connections, you're basically still gonna have the same amount of lamps. But if you keep powering the connections and keep hammering on, which I I mean, I want to say I'm pretty good at, but I'm working. It's work in progress for sure, because I tend to be a hermit and I tend to be kind of a head in the sand kind of person. And also with my family, like I haven't talked to my family in 2 weeks now, which I feel pretty shitty about. I have to hit them up, but the thing is the reason I'm saying it is, you know, like in the end, the more connections you make, the easier it will be for you to make the connection between two people who are working on something. So like you can see at some point, I feel like as a composer, if you can see an ad and say, oh, they did it, Marmoset did it, or like this ad agency did it, and go like, oh, I worked with this ad agency, I should reach out. Like all these little dots that get connected along the lines are down the line is what will bring you these crazy opportunities down the road. And that's why I feel like people who do it for 3 years and quit are missing out, because I feel like, and that's a feeling, right? That's a feeling, and that's also of research that I've done on this podcast and things like that. But it seems like it takes if people are Sigurd, then maybe it takes 2 years to get the first significant placement. But I think that 5 years, it's safe to say that 5 years it takes to kind of like build this nice network of people that you now want to work with, and you also know who they work with. So you're building a tree in your head of people that you know and like, and can hit up once in a while and say, hey, I'm actually like, I have some free slots for an album, so maybe we can do an album now, and then you do another album for a label that you've worked with or something like that. Like being able to do that kind of thing will just power your next year. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I totally resonate with what you were saying.
Oh yeah, network is key to everything. Even in the sync world, where once you have done the music, it's kind of out of your hands what happens. Right, in the game world, it's a bit different because you're a bit more hands-on with the final product. You know, everyone is kind of working alongside each other until the game actually releases. But in sync, you kind of do the music, and then it's kind of like, let's see what happens. Right. So but even in the sync world, networking is everything. I just spent a few days ago, I spent the whole day writing personalized emails to everyone in the sync world that I've worked with. You know, no copy paste. I wrote a personal thing to each and every single one, and it took a full day to do that shit. But that's kind of, you know, first of all, I want to be as good of a human being I can possibly be. You know, so sending out a Christmas holiday email is something that I actually want to do. But then again, on the business side, it also, you know, probably out of if there are 100 composers on a publisher, I'm not sure all 100 composers are gonna send out that kind of personalized email. Probably not. Am I saying I'm the only one who does it? No, probably not. But that's also gonna make me jump further up the line of the queue, you know, when the said publisher then needs people to do some custom work or a new album or something like that, you know. So I'm all for taking care of your network. It's very important, because the day that you have not taken enough care of your network is the day that you're out of business, because they won't contact you anymore for anything, because they haven't heard about anything from that blonde Danish weird dude in a long time.
I imagine this
right?
the person, like a game director going, who should I take for this project? Oh, maybe that dude that sent me a pink dildo with his photo. Let's do that. Oh man, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, Sigurd. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, my Christmas card is me in a mankini on a unicorn.
There you go. Sending people pink dildos. That's the advice for today. Everybody.
I live by the rule there is no bad PR.
You're the pink dildo guy, right? Like, wow. Yeah. That could be a good trademark.
Can you do audio? Yes, I
can. Next Christmas, can you send me actually like something with your voice in it? Oh my God, that would be great.
Yeah. Boom.
Shit, man. I'm not gonna be able to look you in the eyes from now. Man. Well. Anyway, but yeah, I think jokes aside, this is truth. I feel like if there's one way that you can stand out to people, I feel like also what I was speaking to the mastermind with the mastermind today was about like templates and why I think they're complete bullshit. Like, I mean, in this last year, I feel like we were talking a lot about courses and stuff that people provide, and like, this is how you do stuff. This is how you set it all up. And it's, man, I feel like unless you are, I don't know, like I know perfectly, but my feeling is an email template is maybe something from 2000 that worked in 2016, 2015, but it just like I've learned the hard way, and also the soft way, just like by sending personalized message, I've learned that they work. They just work. People are still in tune and they are still intuitive, and especially the younger generation, they know when something is fake. Like they fucking know. Yeah. People who are 25 and down, it's just like their radar is so advanced. Even though you're maybe you're not hitting up people who are 25 and lower, but that being said, people feel the energy of an email. And I don't know, like I don't have the science behind it, but I know how I feel when I see an email that's not written for me. That is just like my name copy paste of a bunch of words that don't mean anything. And
then people are questioning why they don't get answers from publishers.
100%.
Right. I actually have a good example for this. I will not name the guy or the publisher because I haven't talked to him about this.
Shout out to Earl.
Fuck. No. No, I actually I kind of had there's this dude, let's call him dude, that has this publishing company. And I was actually not looking at getting involved with any new publishers because I think I'm good where I'm at. But I kind of felt from different comments, we have these closed groups on Facebook and all that stuff. I felt from his comments that we kind of had the same sarcastic, dark humor-ish stuff. And I've never talked to this guy before. And I shoot him a messenger message just like, hey dude, when am I gonna do a fucking album for your publisher? Right? And I just sent it. Dude, see ya. And I went a couple of days and I forgot everything about this message, right? And he comes back to me, that was different, straightforward, I like it, let's do an album. Right? And that was personal for him because I kind of got the vibe that we were on, the same comedic spectrum somehow, instead of going through the website and going the info at publishername.com and sending the same copy paste. Hey, look, I'm this guy. And
hope your day's going well.
Yeah, blah, 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 right? And the publisher sees the email and goes, oh God, another one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm all for the personalized stuff, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Don't just send people how the fuck are you doing, when am I doing a fucking album for you, but like if you see that, like that's the Sigurd,
that was risky business. Let's point that out. It was risky business, but it was business.
But that's Jøhnk the Jesus talking right there.
Yes,
you see, that's Jøhnk that's what we were talking about in the beginning. Jøhnk the holy speaking.
That will be the opening of my Bible.
Let us all categorize this shit. You know what I mean? Like let us not have people have traumatic experiences and need to meditate because of that kind of stuff.
Dude, you have been talking to me so much about doing freaking courses and stuff. I think I am officially set on actually writing a religious Bible on this shit and just going all out sarcastic all the way through it.
I would fucking love that. Yo,
and it's gonna be free. I don't want to sell it. It's gonna be
so
free.
you're gonna make it for free, but I'm gonna sell it, and then I'm gonna make some money over that shit. And then
you have permission
you can
to
put
make
the
money
Bible,
on my
you can
religion.
put the gospel out. I don't give a fuck, but I'm gonna make money.
I'm just gonna put out the Bible, and every time it says Jesus or God, I'm just gonna put in the word stems.
Jøhnk.
And boom.
Jøhnk the stem god.
Yes.
Yo, I mean, like, listen, I was telling you, like, I think that whatever it is that you got in there, I feel like people love listening to it here, obviously, because just like the shows and people just fuck with you, and I feel like people would actually support you, not in a way, because we were talking about courses, and I was talking to also my people about courses, and we were talking about how it kind of just got a bit out of context and made it awkward for people like you to make courses, because actually we talked about you in this context, because I was saying, well, who has a course about music for games? Like, I don't know. There's probably something out there, but if I would give somebody the agency and the trust to learn this from, it would be you. So I mean, like, but what we were saying about that is that it's just such it's such a wishy-washy area, and it's so hard to find people who are doing it in a way that feels completely whole. I want to say whole is the word that comes through, and that's what's hard these days. I feel like about courses for me, and because I've been kind of dealing with this imposter syndrome. Should I do something? Should I have some sort of a platform where people pay to watch more content, or all these things? But in the end of the day, it's like it you will be able to do a course when you really feel the need to make it. So there's no,
my problem right now is not that I don't want to do a course, because I think there is a lot of stuff that I could maybe help people with. But my problem with the whole courses thing right now is that everyone and their damn grandma has a course, right? And I've seen, and I don't want to mention names or anything. Earl, you goddamn no. Let me give you 2 examples. One example is that I saw a guy who shall not be named, Earl, have a course out on epic trailer music, how to do the perfect trailer course, blah blah blah, for $200 something. And I researched this dude, and he has never had a trailer placement, and I'm like, what? Why are you doing this course then? And it's not to bash him as a person or anything, but I'm kind of like, if you haven't had any successful placements in the field you're doing a course in, it doesn't really make sense for me to do. As you know, courses now feel like it's a big, just a big, quick and easy money grab, and I don't want it to be. I would much rather just give a really good course away for free, because I really like helping people. And the other example is that I saw this other guy who then, on the other hand, has a lot of very nice placements and stuff, who did a course on all this trailer stuff, but everything mentioned in the course can easily be Googled in 10 minutes. And then again, I'm like, that feels like a really quick money grab. And I don't want it to be that. If I actually did a course and actually took money for it, I really wanted it to be worth every single penny. Or else then we get back to the whole meditation and stuff. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I took money for something half-assed, quick money grab.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with courses.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
feel like that's the thing, though. I feel like free stuff is also very tricky, right? Because
it's quickly labeled as crap. Right?
Yeah, because it's labeled as something without the guarantee that it'll do something. That being said, like today, with all the shitty supplements, the shitty foods that are like immune booster on a fucking on a fucking hot chocolate with 20 grams of sugar, or like on a Gatorade or something like that says boost your energy. Yes, it boosts your energy, but all the other stuff, where is the other stuff?
It's so weird. Have you heard about nutrition and going out into the sun? It's right there. You don't need to buy it in a stupid drink or food.
It's free.
It makes no sense.
It's free, and that's the whole thing. Like that the free model has to be made made sexy again for people to actually for people to actually research and go like, oh, there are really great free things that I can do to recharge my immune system. I can go to the sun. I can stand on grass for 5 minutes. I can do all these like basic things that really help my brain, like stare at the sun in the morning for a few minutes, or do all these. There's so many little hacks, and that's just about the body, right? But I feel like it's also about things like learning, and I'm saying, and I'm speaking it a bit to myself, because I've overpaid for courses and I've underpaid for a lot of things, and I just feel like having like making things a point to kind of like, this is what I'm gearing myself towards. That's why I feel like we're having this conversation before 2024, is because I feel like gearing oneself to like, okay, what do I want to accomplish in 2024 in that sense? So like, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, because I feel like they bring a lot of disappointment, but I feel like having a few concrete goals and saying, okay, how do I drive myself closer to like, for me it was a five digit check, and I just got it, like that, literally like before the end of the year. I didn't get it yet, but I like got it locked where it's going to enter my account. And I might have made it 2. So it's just like, so it was like 2 things, but I didn't know how I was gonna go about it. I knew that I needed connections. I knew that I needed to keep making a lot of music, because my main goal is in one of the coming years to be able to make full-time out of the royalties. So so like the music thing will be a way more, I mean, it's very, very joyful. It's not going to be in any different place, but the the ability it will give me for traveling and for things like that.
Yeah.
Once royalties start piling up, it's just like a great thing. Anyway, like my goal for next year is, I'm just sharing it, is high 5 figures. And my question is like, okay, now how do I do it? And kind of reverse engineer it, but not in a way too meticulous, like but going, okay, like what I need for that is either like a big, like a really big placement, which is probably how it's gonna go down. And how do I do that? Usually I feel like ads or trailers are the best ways to kind of achieve that. If I'm just like, I'm going to break down my goal. So ads or trailers would probably be the best way to go for me, because I'm connected to the STEM Jesus, and the STEM Jesus can fucking get me hooked up right now. So I'm starting 24.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, but you know, just like making you promise me that I'm gonna get that check from you. But
well, we could base my Bible around the Catholic model. So if you pay me some money,
oh, there you go. And you are you gonna teach me the email template that's gonna get me high 5 figures?
Nah, I'm just gonna make sure you don't go to hell. All the other stuff you have to do.
Fuck that shit. But yeah, I feel like having a few lights, you know, like to kind of follow, can be a great way to create that. Also, like PMC has done amazing things for me this year. Just the connections I've made, and also the podcast. For the podcast, my goal was 10 episodes when I first recorded. Sigurd was my second episode that I recorded.
Damn.
Yeah. So,
I'm the OG.
The OG, and it's been almost 2 years, man.
Really?
Yeah, and just like, yeah, and looking at that journey, you know, like saying, all right, let me just record 10 to where I am right now, where people are approaching me to be on the podcast, and it's just like, it's just a fuck yeah, you know, like it's, of course I'm on my way there, and I'm putting my word out there, and another thing that I feel like is worth a rant is just showing up like the person who I want to be. Like, who's, instead of asking myself, how do I make a high 5 figure check, I'm asking myself, who do I need to be to get a 5 digit check? And that's a more interesting question, right? Like, because it's like, how do I need to think right now? And I see people like you, and I'm like, I need to think a bit more like that. Like I literally, that's how my mind works. I'm like, I look at people like you, and I'm like, and then I met I met a few people in PMC who won't be named, and I'm like, I want to also think like them. Okay, I'm gonna keep these guys around, and then just like building up this ecosystem of people who have already done what I am doing right now, what I'm trying to accomplish, and then it's like, they're like, I'm surrounded by assurance that I can do this, and then it's obvious when it kind of comes around. And that's the thing I love about you, like that every time I speak to you, I feel like there's a certainty in you, in your accomplishment. There's like there's this humbleness, there's this stoicism, but there's also like this kind of like about everything you achieve, where I'm like, to me it's mind blowing, but to you it feels like almost to you it's another piece of the puzzle, and it's great.
And actually, a very recent example of that, I got, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. I got a trailer placement. Or a featurette thing.
Congrats.
And thank you.
I can't follow, by the way, like, you getting so much of these, so I'm just like, I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it has been a lot this year, and I am very grateful for that. and it's not because it doesn't matter to me, because it matters a whole lot. If getting trailer placements is also a part of the puzzle, that means that I can do this for a living, right? But the reaction on finding out that the track actually got used was, I opened the email and read it and was like, that's nice. And then I moved on with my life. Right. And it's not because inside I was crawling around on the roof and yelling, yay, good shit. But, maybe it's probably also from the, the Danish upbringing, that keep it mellow and don't be a big star. It was kind of like, okay, that was nice. On to the next. That's kind of the whole thought process behind it, that this was great. Now what can we do from here?
Yeah. Yeah, I just watched the documentary about the Kelsey brothers, football players, on Amazon, and it just shows the hunger that people have after winning a Super Bowl, right? Which is one of the highest accolades in the world. Like you're on the top of the world.
Yeah,
hundreds of millions of people are watching you, and you are just on the top, and all you want to do once you get that is get it again. And the what you're describing is very Buddhist in its way, and also I feel like you're like the humble leader, which rips their clothes off even though they are rich, kind of thing. Just to rimind themselves that they can be poor tomorrow too. Like there's nothing that prevents like the World Bank's going crazy and everything going to shit, kind of thing.
And even if everything went to shit, I would still be like, okay, what to do now? Onwards.
That's amazing, in my opinion, again, because I feel like that's why emotional cultures are very, very tough for me to be in. I grew up in a very emotional culture, very emotionally charged culture, and it's just, it takes a toll, right? Like when emotions become the main event, then first of all, like things are spicier at times. Like, oh, did you hear what they said, what she said, what he said? But from the other end, there's no peace, because there's always somebody looking for something to take from someone, and there's that mentality, and I actually, I love that. I have not gotten a trailer placement, but I feel like now that you're speaking about it like this, I know how it will look when I get a trailer placement, because
and it will happen. It's just a matter of time, basically.
Yeah, and good music.
Because and it's not to downplay our business, but everyone can do this if they want to dive deep enough into it. Right, if they want to learn the production skills needed to make the quality that is expected by trailer editors and so on, then if everyone who likes to compose or produce music can do it. But the thing is that it's all about time, because still, the very first trailer album I ever did has still never seen a placement. But it could be next year or the year after, or it could also never get a placement, any of the tracks. They have been used a lot on TV instead, so they still provide some sort of backend. But it's also, like, also this year, but especially last year, every single streaming trailer was this neoclassical stuff, right? And that trend came out of random because of neoclassical tracks that already existed, right? That someone did maybe years before it became a trend. So do you, and if you like to do hip hop, or if you like to do epic stuff, make sure it's just really, really great, and things will land at some point.
What do you think about what do you think about categorizing? Like, I mean, how do you categorize who to do music with? So let's say, I mean, like, there's people like libraries, which we discussed, that buy your tracks out and stuff, and like, you make a certain type of music. You make also, you love making stuff for horror and stuff like that. So I mean, how do you categorize who you work with, let's say for projects like this, let's say that are buyouts, or versus like a trailer library and things like that? Like,
when we talk about buyouts, we both know which publisher we're talking about, but we shall not name them.
Our mutual one, we can say.
Yeah, we have a mutual publisher that we have done stuff for. And if it's a big publisher, which basically means a guaranteed backend, then I'm all good with the buyout. Also because the kind of music that I would do for such a deal or such a publisher is music that would still be more underscore TV focused, right? So I would not expect any big upfront sync fees anyways for that kind of music. So I don't see a problem with a buyout deal like that, as long as you keep your rights for the backend, right? I would never do it for trailer stuff, because there is almost no backend at all, right? Of course, there are some publishers that also flush it out to TV, but in trailers we go for the sync fee, right? So I would never do a buyout there, because that would basically just mean free work, in some way, right? So it depends on the publisher and what the end goal with the music is.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. That's something I feel like I don't know, like, it's interesting. I was thinking about it as I was driving back here today. I don't know if I've failed in it, but I just don't feel like I was cognizant enough to, like, what music am I putting where. And then, like, there was this one publisher, I've created a few that will remain nameless. I'm sorry, like, I want this podcast to be super open, but there are just, like, I mean, it's just for respect to these people. I feel like we should keep them, we should keep their dignity. And there was a publisher that asked me for epic hip hop, and they paid upfront. And I realized after doing more than 20 tracks for this publisher that they bought out, that they were more of an ad agency. So basically they bought out my tracks to then later use it for bigger placements, and then I get nothing. So that being said, I was very grateful, because at the time it really helped me financially. So it helped me, it provided me with the tools to now, like, first of all, understand these kinds of deals, plus just being able to understand that this type of heavy hitting shit that I do, that I put a lot of time in, needs to go to libraries that actually commend that and sell that properly, because I know I can get this, like, heavy upfront money for that kind of thing. So
exactly, and never underestimate that. And And also take a look at the previous work, whatever publisher you're submitting music for has done, because, again, we shall talk about people who shall not be named, but
Earl.
Earl had a track with a publisher which is mainly TV based. They have a bit of ad work here and there, but that hip hop track got used in the reveal video for a new iPhone and landed $250,000 in a sync fee. Right. That's a lot of money for something that's just collecting dust on a shelf at the library, right? So don't underestimate the powers of random picks, right? But again, a deal like that is one in the thousands, right?
Yeah.
But
more than
there's
thousands.
no reason.
More than thousands.
What I'm trying to say is that there's no reason to not expect that coming, because if it happens, that's a trip to Bali, right?
250, bro. That's a trip to the Bahamas and to all the world, and
only one trip to the casino, of course,
and a private jet.
But it's a trip.
Yeah, I mean 250. That's a lot of money. That's the type of money that I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what to do with. I'll probably just like buy something stupid and.
You know, the weirdest part about a sync fee like that is I'm Danish, and Danish people don't like to use money, so it would just rot away on a bank account somewhere.
Yeah. Just let's send it to Mark Zuckerberg. He'll know what to do with it.
Yeah. He can start a proxy war somewhere or something.
Yeah. We'll help finance his cyber war in 2020 something.
At least we would be on his team, right? So
yeah, we'll be on the winning team, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, like that's the kind of thing where 250 grand would freak me out at this point, to be honest. I would probably to be honest, like what I would do with if I came by a lot of that amount of money, I would probably invest a bunch of it and then like buy my parents something really nice. So just like, I mean, just to probably a car, because their car is so bad, like so beaten up, and they've helped me quite a lot as I was growing up, and I feel like
pay back your dues.
Yeah, right. I've been thinking about it a lot. So if you know what, y'all heard it. If something big comes around, I definitely want.
If you land the Apple reveal of the next iPhone, then
oh yeah,
people are getting presents and stuff.
Oh yeah, I feel like, man, like, to be honest, like I'm getting some cool briefs. I've been getting some cool briefs this year, which was a great validator for me, you know, like people who are thinking about me in context of like big numbers again, and I'm very flattered, and I feel like I want to do it. I want to be a part of projects, and also like something that's been happening in 2023 is I've become a way better collaborator. So when somebody comes to me with a project, and I'm like, I probably can't do it. I got like a crew of maybe 10 to 20 producers, which I can call, like, and I know that from some of these can make me a track, can have a track with me on it in like 48 hours or even less. And it's just like, we can make a really fast turnaround and kill this brief. Whereas like a year ago, I would be like thinking, okay, how do I make these 15 grand or something like that? And now it's just like this kind of thinking just doesn't make sense to me, because if I can make a way, way better track with you, I'd rather make half of it and have my chances be way higher to score the placement.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah, I feel like that's something I've learned the hard way, by the way. But it's definitely now gearing me to a place where I know that my capacity also for 2024 will be so much higher because of that. Because yeah, man, I feel like all the 50-50s and all the percentages. I know that like you make most of your tracks by yourself. But for me, I just learned to release that, because there are things that I'm better at and there are things that I'm less good at, and I'm totally fine with that. And I happen to be really good in collaborating with people. So I feel like that's a good thing to capitalize on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's so looking forward, looking into 24, what's something that you are kind of shifting or adjusting or looking to be better at? And yeah, what are things like that for you?
Oh damn, you pick all the deep questions today.
Only today. Only today. I'm in Earl mode, bro. I'm in Earl mode.
Oh shit! Yeah. Damn you, Earl.
Yeah. Earl versus Jesus.
What? What am I trying to do in 24?
Like what? Well, also, like what? Let's make it a broader. I feel like. Yeah, like it's a broad question, but it's also like, what would you adjust? Yeah. What are you kind of looking to do better, or because you talked about firing in all cylinders and doing things like that. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, personally, I think I'm trying to still work. Well. Basically as hard as I've always done, but also try to kind of go a bit down in gear, if that makes sense. I'm kind of, my personality is kind of like all over the place all the time. so I think I will try to do stuff a bit more focused in some way and spend a bit more time just doing nothing, even though I spend a lot of time relaxing and playing Xbox and stuff like that, I will spend more time like really doing nothing, like not reading, not playing any games, like if an hour or a couple of days just sitting in a chair with nothing but what's going on inside here. Right, I guess that's also a different kind of meditation in some way, but not focused meditation. Like going for a walk, but with no music in the ears or no podcast in the ears or anything, stuff like that. So more of that, and on the never-ending business side of stuff, I'm going much deeper into a lot of more traditional songwriting. Like I'm still doing a lot of music for video games and sync stuff and all that, but I've linked up with a good and steady team of nice writers who does a lot of K-pop and J-pop and stuff like that. So I'm diving a lot more into that in 24 and just having fun with that. Also because it's in sync, as you talked about too, there is a lot of, you do a lot of your tracks yourself, and sometimes you collaborate with another composer, but mostly you're just working with your own stuff, right? And in the more traditional songwriting world, there's always there's a producer and there's a top liner and then there's someone who arranges the track. It's more a collaborative place to be. So I'm doing a lot more of that in 24. So that's my 24, I guess.
That's super cool. I mean, like also K-pop, like if I look at you, even like from first sight, I would ask myself, what the fuck does this guy have to do with K-pop? That's some Earl shit.
That's some Earl shit.
That's some Earl Scammer shit. Earl the Scammer shit. Yo, I do K-pop. What?
Yeah, what's wrong?
What's
my
wrong?
my teenage death metal musician is laughing at me.
Oh yeah.
But it's so fun. You know, the thing I actually really love about the whole Asian pop scene is that there's actually so much different music involved there, and they use a lot of these jazz chords and in Western pop music, it's kind of like if you have your verse and your chorus, you're good to go and just copy paste it all the way through, right? But in the Asian pop world, it's like the second verse can sound like a low and mellow jazz vibe, while the first verse had this upbeat dance vibe, and it's still the same song. And I think it's amazing. It's just a lot of really fun and sometimes weird stuff just mashed up together in a track. It's so cool. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's just like listening even to anime or music from anime. It's just it's so rich harmonically. It's crazy.
Yeah. One second it's a banging rock track, and then it's a big orchestra, and then it's hip hop, and it's like, what did I just watch?
Actually, it's a story. It's a story that I actually really appreciate what you're saying about it, because it makes so much sense now. Like you've connected a lot of dots in my brain. So so songwriting. Wow, it's 2024. I can't wait to see how that goes. I'm sure it'll go great, but cool. I mean,
that's the plan.
and to make a stemming chorus. What's I don't know. What should we like? What else is on your mind from like 20? Like, is there anything you would change about how you were, what you were doing in 2023?
Is there anything I would change?
Like you were talking about being less active and perhaps like meditating more, but is there anything that you felt like you could have done differently in 2023?
Well, not really on the whole music side. I think everything is kind of where it needs to be for me right now. Personally, I have not spent as much. Well, I've spent more time working out physically, which I did a lot of before. So it has been a lot this year. But I have kind of lost a bit of touch with my with the whole martial arts part of working out. So I'm diving a bit deeper into that too, and that's that's also what I haven't done enough of in 23, and it's not because I want to go beat the living shit out of people. It has actually nothing to do with fighting at all. But it's kind of the whole package, you know. It's especially some different kinds of martial arts in there. It's a central point to be also meditating and being aware of your mental state and so on. So it's kind of the whole package together. It's not just like meditating and just martial arts. And I like to keep it all as one big cohesive thing to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like some people are listening to the podcast and are going like, these fucking these fucking kids who are not fathers, assholes, privileged, and they're gonna be right. They're gonna be spot on. That's the closest I have to a kid is a dog, and the closest that Sigurd has to a kid is a cat. So that's what we have in common. But that being said, it's one of the things that I feel like if and when I have a child, it's like the thing I want to bring out the most to this being is my passion to something, and boom, technical difficulties, but we're back.
Yes.
So yeah, what I was speaking to is just the ability to be an inspiration to kids. And I feel like martial arts and just hobbies and things that you really love as a person, I feel it adds so much to your arsenal, especially something like martial arts that involves patience. It involves repetition. It involves so many things that can make you such a good, a better person in other areas of life, that it's so convertible. And it's just like, it's so, I feel like the best analogy from martial arts, it's just the looser you are, the harder you hit. That's just like that. It comes down to all martial arts. Like the looser you are, the better you hit. And it's like in boxing, it's the better your movement is, the less you need to move. And that's the interesting thing, you know, like you can see these little patterns of how much stress you put in a certain place. And anyway, I feel like it's a great thing to just be that for the person who you are showing up for whoever you want to show yourself to. And that is straight up amazing, in my opinion, being able to be that. So sorry to all the fathers that think that we're spoiled brats, but we are.
But on the other hand, I totally get it too, because if you are working a normal 9-to-5 job, right?
Yeah,
it's much more difficult to keep up with, you know, your workouts and I need 30 minutes for meditation and blah blah blah, you know, all that stuff, while you have a screaming kid on your shoulder and stuff like that. But I myself, and I know this, that I am very, very privileged to have a life where I can basically work from home all the time, right? Which also frees up a lot more time to work on yourself and so on. So I completely get their side of the whole thing, right? Because I've even though I see myself as a relatively calm person, I would lose my shit if I had a 9-to-5 and a kid at the same time. And with having so much importance for myself to work on both my physical and mental health at the same time, it would be
and that's what I feel like, where you were talking about focus, and that's where I think that focus enters the picture, because I feel like, and that's my feeling, and I really hope that parents and people who find me wrong will correct me, and I know a few parents that are listening, so hopefully they come out to me if I'm completely off saying this. But
come at me, Earl. At me.
Correct Earl. It's not me, it's Earl. But I feel like the fact the thing is that that is the main luxury that something like Sync provides. It doesn't mean you're gonna be rich. It doesn't mean you're gonna be flying in private jets. But what it can promise you, if you do it enough, is that you are gonna see your family way more. You're gonna have time to go to the gym. You're gonna do all these things. That's why I feel like, and that's the people who are listening. You know, like that's people who are in that boat of like, we want to do this. So that's why I feel like it's important to keep nailing these nails, putting these nails in the coffin, because people are listening in, and I feel like more and more people are seeing. Even last week's podcast with Stephen McDonald, it's just about him being able to live a humble life, make his income from sync because he worked really hard in doing that, and make back end royalties, make his income, most of his income from it, which is a really respectful thing, and then raise his daughter, and the rest of the time that's what he's focused on, and exactly he's doing exactly what we were talking about, and that's actually, you know, it's kind of, it speaks to all the parents who are listening. It's like you can, there's pretty clear evidence out there that you can do this, like that everyone, if they put their mind into it and they work with the right labels, it'll take time. It's not, there's no one way to go about it. I've seen, just right now, I looked at Jesse's interview with somebody who made $7,000 in royalties after 2 years in sync, and that's amazing. I didn't have a year like that from royalties yet. No. But that's somebody who was on his course, somebody who did it in 2 years, and it's amazing. And another person takes 10 years, and that's totally fine too. But I feel like people who are listening to this in 24, it's another, 23 was a hard year for them. I feel like 24 can be the year, and it can also not be the year, but it's an option that exists out there. And that's what I feel like our podcast is there to show. It's like the opportunity to do these things, it exists, and it's there right now, for sure. Yeah, for sure, it's just there. And you get to choose what you do with it. Sigurd wants to go write K-pop, so that's what he's gonna do. I'm gonna work my ass off and make more tracks. That's what I'm gonna do. And that's just, it's not a point of comparison, as it's more of a point of reference, because I think what I've actually thought about today is, I saw the Michael Moss's post, which is like, oh, I'm getting old, I'm making only 160 tracks a year, and I'm like, wow, I didn't make 160 tracks this year, and I've been firing pretty well, but that was me making comparisons, right? Like to Michael Moss, which is like a freaking machine, and that's okay. But that's not what I should be doing for myself, for my well-being. And if I had a family, that's not how I would get myself closer to live closer to the family. So it's all about, you know, choosing your own path. Don't choose everyone else's, because that has already been walked. Choose your battle, and choose your battles. Yes, and spend your time wisely. I know sometimes, and of course, if you're a dad too, then there's even less time. But I know sometimes it can be a struggle to get it all through, right? But also sometimes I also see there are sometimes, and they shall not be named, Earl. I get some DMs on Instagram or Discord or stuff like that, you know, and they either want me to help them out with a track, which I am always more than happy to, but also I've gotten a few questions where people ask where did I get the time to do this when I had a full-time job too, because we all have to kind of, you know, we all have to start somewhere, and it doesn't start out with all the gold in the pocket, right? So we're kind of all in the same boat in the early beginnings. And I basically just laid it out to him that we have to sleep for 8 hours, and most with a full-time job
have to work for 8 hours, and now we have 8 hours left. What are you spending them on? Right. So, and even that's in the extremes, because not many people actually sleep 8 hours, right? So now you maybe have 9 or 10 hours, and if they weren't spent on binge watching stuff on Netflix and so on, maybe shit would get done. But but I also understand, the need to kind of sit down and relax and rewind and stuff like that. But it all comes down to, even when you're transitioning from maybe part-time to full-time, and also when you are full-time, everything just comes down to time management. If you shit at time management, everything is just gonna take that much longer. It's just like, even for myself, I don't even work 8 hours a day doing this stuff, but I could easily work 9 or 10 hours if I had shit time management between writing emails and doing stems and writing new music and so on. And so I would say it's about managing your time and making sure you spend it wisely, because even though we get to work with music, why work 10 hours a day if you can work 6 and spend the rest of the time with your family, right?
Yeah. 100%. I feel like sometimes when I feel like I'm getting done a lot fast, it almost feels like I'm cheating because I'm not doing enough, basically. Like, because I'm not getting enough hours in. But it's just sometimes where it's at, and it's something that you taught me, actually. Is just sometimes, like, you gotta turn off the lights and get the fuck out of there, and tomorrow's a new day. And yeah, man, I feel like, I mean, we've been at it for an hour and a half, and I feel like that next time we're gonna talk about UFOs, so stay tuned for that.
Oh, yes.
But is there like a last thing that you'd like to kind of leave with?
Like, for just like overall goodness, or
Yeah,
should we take something from the Bible?
Yeah. Just maybe give us a snippet from the Jøhnk Bible.
Okay, first of all, the first part of the Bible is to pay me money. So if that is out of the way,
big gems. Write it down.
No, honestly, the best thing that I can give right now is to just relax. It's in the end, you're floating around on a big rock in a never-ending space that constantly expands. Really, just relax. It's your big mega Hans Zimmer type music career is not gonna happen any faster if you work yourself to death today. No. Everything, no matter what you're doing in music, if you're trying to build up a band, or if you're trying to build up your composer business, one day, once in a while, where you do nothing is gonna make zero difference. The only place it's actually gonna make any difference is inside your own head, where you are suddenly gonna get much better.
Yeah, that's big, man.
Take a chill pill. That's that's my advice of the day. If you actually want to make it in this business, then just chill and have fun.
Last advice: take a chill pill, man. I'm so glad to have had you on, and I'm grateful to call you a friend, and I fucking love you, brother. Thank you so much.
And likewise, it's always nice talking with you.
Fuck yeah. Woo! Yay. Yo, Thanks for listening to Sync Gems. Again, if y'all want to support this podcast, go ahead. Follow the podcast, which is a huge thing. It also lets you know when episodes are coming out. Share the podcast on your socials. Share the posts on socials. And let me know what you think about the podcast as well. Hit me up on IG. Hit me up wherever. And I'm sending you all the love. And see you at the next Sync Gems episode. Peace!